Well, there's really ain't a whole lot to do because I ain't done nothing. But they wanted to get a few words off of me of what I've been through these few years I've been hacking around. But I've did quite a few things, so it's going to be quite a few frames on here, I'm sure. But I kind of want to tell you just the family history a whole lot. You know, Dad was in World War One, and he come home, but he took out a homestead in Colorado, and he couldn't hack that out of him. But he did pick up Mama out there, brought her back with him to Kansas, and they took up a little old farm out there for a place to live, and farms on a Grandpa Hank's land. And then Hank got a house open over there, so he just moved Dad and Mom over there in that house, and Leo and I, and that's where we ended up at. We just a couple of little old kids out there on the farmland who raised up fighting like a couple of farm kids, doing what we could. And we had a lot of fun. We learned what was to do right and what to do wrong. You could sure do either one of them very quick. And Merle come along in 1930, and RH come along in 32, and we all finished it up together then. And Mom, she passed away in 1940, and she brought us kids along and brought Dad along too for quite a trip. She was quite a woman, and she didn't mind what she done or when she done it. Just if it suited her, well, that's what she wanted to do. And we could go back on her Grandma Hank's doings, and they done a lot of things now that pioneers didn't really know too much about, but they straightened them out on us. They had their way to go on about it, and that pioneer women out there, they all got together and they fixed things up to where they made it a whole lot easier for each other, and that stuck at it for quite a while. The men, they were in on it too. They got their part of it. It'll show up on down the way here ways, but right now I'm just going to let you know just about where we are, what we are, and where we got started at. They said to tell you who I am before you get your 12 gauge out. I'm Leroy Palmer, and I was born on February the 21st, 1923, and
Rollins County, Kansas.
In Rollins County, and that's where we got it going. And Leo was born in the same house, and then we moved into the big house that, Grandpa Hank's daddy built that house for them to live in when they moved from eastern Nebraska to western Kansas, and he had that all set up out there, and had his family there, and that's where it all come about. And Dad and Mom, they got together in Colorado, Eads County, Colorado, and they seen they couldn't make it out there in that dust out there, and that was out enough land to do what they need to do or keep the livestock they need to keep. So they just moved back to western Kansas then and got in on some of that little more, I guess you'd call it pasture land, and made it into field land and pasture land. And so Leo was born 2 years after me, and we we hacked along there, and we got into areas of grade school out in Bowers, District 70, and that was just a little country schoolhouse out there. We went to it 8 hours a day for, well, I shouldn't say 8 hours a day. Went from 8 in the morning till about 4 in the afternoon. We had a pretty full day out there, but we had a lot of time that we could do other things to kind of take up the time. Leo and I went to school out there, and Marilyn ended up she got to go to school out there, but she didn't go very long. And Leo and I walked a lot of the time. We got probably 7, 8 years old, 7 and 9 years old. But we rode old Maud to school. That was Mom's old saddle horse, and Dad got her a better saddle horse, and we took that and over to our school horse. So we rode old Maud back and forth to school. We got through that little school out there. We went to high school in Atwood. Went to Rollins. Well, it was ACHS, Atwood Community High School, and they had changed it from Rollins County High School to Atwood Community High School. And then after I left away from there and everything, it went back to Rollins County High School and took it away from that there Rollins Atwood Community High School. But it was quite a little high school. We were right into the whole bunch of the community, a Bohemian community out there, and so we had to live like the community, like the Bohemians did. The Bohemians didn't live like we did, so that's why we kind of got along. I lived the first year of high school with that Blanche. They had their kids in school. They lived in that little house out there on Sappy Creek, south of Atwood, and really they needed more help on it. So they moved them into Grandpa's house there at Atwood, and Chris took care of his livestock out there on the farm by going out there and taking care of them, feeding them, milking his cows, feeding his hogs, what else he needed to do. And he was a pretty good hand, but he just didn't have very much to do it with. But they were real good out there. Junior come down to I don't remember right now just what fever he had, but he come down with a pretty bad case of fever there, and so they had me stay with Frank and Eve for about 5 or 6 weeks there, till they get him over it, get the house kind of cleaned up and everything. But then the next year, we was going to school. I was a little farther along in school then, and they knew a little bit more what was going on. Kind of touched along, and Leo wasn't in school yet, so I had school with kid folks down there, and of course there was Gus and Effie and their kids. I could stay out there if I wanted to. There's Frank and Eve with Burl. I could have stayed there if I wanted to. And they still had Blanche, Chris. We could have stayed there, but I could have stayed with Gus and Effie too. But that's farther from town, no way, no transportation. And I told them they didn't quite have enough room for one more, so I find someplace else to stay. That's the way we kind of run it out. And we had a lot of fun. My freshman year in high school, I took algebra, manual
Science.
training, and that is just a new deal for the manual training. We had guy fresh out of college, and he was our teacher, and he's also our coach. And so that was a new deal for me. I didn't get you have all those fancy things to saw those boards with it out there on the farm. I did fool around and get to go out for football. I was too small for football. Didn't know enough about football to play football, but they took me out there and let me work it out, try it out, and do what I could. But what made it handy for me to go in and work with the wrestle boys. The reason they let me in there with the wrestle was and my weight got knocked out, that I could be put in and get knocked back around again. That's quite a trick to get to wrestle a little bit. I can't remember Scott's given name, was our wrestling teacher. He was also the teacher that taught bookkeeping and office and things like that. He was pretty sharp at it. He was a pretty good guy. I'm going to shut her down for now, and we can turn it back on tomorrow and see how it's doing, see if it's working, see if anybody's got a dig on it. And you guys be careful, and if you get a chance, well, give us a whistle. We'll talk to you later. So long. This is Leroy.